mind me, I just have this shirt on. I got it from the Weeknd tour because I went. The Weeknd's music sounds a lot like Stranger Things music. Ooh, 80s. If you're anything like me, you're kind of obsessed with Stranger Things. What I plan to do in this video is look up fan theories. I seen that Screen Rant compiled a list of 7 different fan theories and predictions for season 5. Shout out to Screen Rant for just doing what I was supposed to do. Love you, Screen Rant. I'm subscribed. Please be aware, there will be spoilers. Max's soul. A huge plot point of this season's finale is the fate of Max. With her body currently in a coma and severely injured, her future is very unclear. The state of Max's mind and soul are unknown. Redditor Chili Cheese Doggo believes that 11 is going to have to go into Henry's mind to get Max's soul back. I don't think that they would go through the trouble of kind of keeping her, or I guess having her convalesced, at least even in the sense of the physical, only for her to not actually have any type of significance or even just be like revived at all. I think that'd be completely pointless. So definitely think that she's not gone. I'll give that I give it a 3.5 out of 5. It's very plausible. I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's implausible. Kind of on the nose, because I don't think that Max is gone for sure. I don't know if they're gonna go about retrieving her that way, but I mean, I think that it is plausible. Like I said before, I give this a 3.5.
Vecna's clock.
The Creel's grandfather clock has made multiple appearances. In the final episode, it is reiterated that the clock striking 4 times symbolizes Vecna's plans. This led fans to make predictions on just how important the clock is. User Stranger Will thinks it's a tool he uses to see both past and the future. That's really interesting. I can see how that could be done, because obviously time, since the clock has been such a pivotal part of it. I'm not certain if he's had the ability to see the future exactly, but he did know certain things before it happened. He was able to predict certain things. I don't know if it was necessarily because he could see the future, or he's just pretty smart. You know what I mean? He could be just like a master tactician or whatever the case is. We don't know. They make their case that the clock helps him know the future. Vecna's dialogue always implied that he was overconfident, saying things like, "You can't stop this now. You have already lost. This is the beginning of the end. There is nothing you can do to stop this now." It all makes me think that he knows the future, just like he showed Nancy. Oh, actually, you have a point with this one, Stranger Will. That much is true. He did show Nancy where he planned on attacking, or wherever he had made his 4 points or whatever the case is of contact, or 4 portals, if you will. So I could definitely see the clock being some sort of tool, and he definitely did speak in a way that was incredibly confident. It was very much something like, I can tell you definitively that the plan that I have set in motion is in fact unstoppable. Granted, this is villain 101. Villains are often overconfident. They talk in a way that implies that impending doom is certain doom. I kind of assumed that he was just talking out of his ass. Well, not talking out of his ass, but just being incredibly overconfident. Obviously, he's able to see the past, even if those pasts aren't connected to him directly. So he has to be getting that source from somewhere. I mean, at the same time, Hawkins seems to be some type of hotbed area. So I don't know if he could just maybe be in tune with trauma from that area, or whatever the case is, the town of Hawkins. That could be it, but I don't know. I think the clock idea is pretty plausible, so I'm gonna give that a 4 out of 5. New upside down monsters. When Steve, Robin, Nancy, and Eddie are in the upside down at Skull Rock, they can hear the wails of a creature, and it doesn't sound like a demigorgon or a demobat. It also causes the ground to shake, creating a small earthquake. Sound makes another appearance when the kids experience the second earthquake going up the stairs in episode 9. If it's a giant monster, like Nancy was saying, I think it's what was causing all of those earthquakes in the upside down, and that we're about to see it in season 5. I'm gonna give that a 2 out of 5, just because obviously, you know, I did hear the noise. It didn't leave that much of an impression on me, truth be told. I don't recall it much, but I do remember like the earthquake happening and everything. I think that new monsters is kind of just like, yeah, okay, maybe. If we do end up seeing that, I don't even really know if I would like it that much, because I think that Vecna is amazing. I think Vecna is an amazing. I'm gonna say it one more time. I think Vecna
is an amazing villain.
So if a new monster would be, let's just call the main boss as opposed to Vecna, I don't know if I'd like it as much, because I think that Vecna is really interesting because he's so human still. The performance, I don't know what's bro's name. Let me look up my man who played Vecna. Jamie Campbell Bowers. Jamie Campbell Bowers' turn as Vecna was amazing because it was so nuanced, and he had like this childlike innocence to him to a certain extent, but below the surface there was always just something dark about him. And I think that he was able to communicate with 11, and he convinced her to have some type of shared identity in a sense. And I think that was really amazing. All of that I say just to say, if there's a new monster as opposed to dealing with Vecna, even if we just go back to the Mind Flayer and there's no more Vecna, I'd be kind of tight. So new monsters, I give this a 2 out of 5. Consuming Max will be Vecna's downfall. Some fans have hope that Max will be able to fight Vecna from her suspended state. User Stranger Will. Damn, Stranger Will's active. I see you. I see you in subs. Stranger Will, get your money, man. Vecna consuming Max might actually be his undoing. Perhaps the essence of the victims he's consumed, led by Max, will be able to do something to Vecna from within, rendering him vulnerable. Oh, this reminds me of something I cannot remember. Is it Full Metal Alchemist possibly? Possibly, I'm not exactly too sure, but it does give me these kind of vibes. You consume somebody who has the means to fight back in a way that you haven't been faced with. This is pretty cool. What I'll say about this, I would have never thought that would be the case, but if that is the case, that would be really wicked, because I like the idea of somebody besides 11 saving the day, or at least playing a significant part in the resolution of something. I think that all of the kids, especially within the last 2 seasons, have definitely held their own and done what they had to do. But something on this scale done by somebody other than 11 would be absolutely mad. I feel like that would be super cool, and I would love to see that. Give my girl Max some shine. She'd have the ultimate redemption arc, you know what I'm saying? Or just not really redemption, but like the crazy character development compared to where we first saw her. She might have had the greatest character development aside from, let's say, Steve. Steve is probably the one who had the most character development, in my humble opinion. Steve is probably my favorite character. I love Steve, man. Steve is wit. I'm gonna give that a 4.5 out of 5. I think that that's a really cool idea. If this actually comes into fruition, I'd be very pleased. Hawkins becomes a war zone. As seen in the finale, the Upside Down has finally made a crossover into this reality. While the news is blaming the giant cracks in the ground and raining ash on an earthquake, others are bound to realize that it is more than that. After spending the last 4 seasons being the sole defenders of this world from the horrors of the Upside Down, the Hawkins heroes may finally have support from the military. Okay. User Nexus Patriot suggests the U.S. government quarantines Hawkins and begins to deploy military forces to combat the Upside Down. Enter Sullivan. Realizing his hubris almost doomed civilization with wanting to kill 11, he seeks out Owen's help in finding her. Owen says they're gonna need a lot more than just her. CIA is deployed to track down all of the surviving subjects of MK Ultra. Militaries of the world, led by 11 and other experiments, begin a full invasion of the Upside Down. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's sick. I think that is sick. If that were to happen, if they were to round up the subjects, because let me tell you this is one of my biggest gripes with Stranger Things. The fact that we didn't really get to see what the rest of the individuals who were involved in the experiments could do, or just any backstory on anybody else, with the exception of Henry, obviously, this season, and the previous season with number 8, Callie. I thought that it was such a wasted opportunity for them to introduce Callie in the very first scene of season 3, only to have her appear in about 1 or 2 more episodes. It's been a while since I watched it, but I just thought that there was so much more they could have done with her. So to see the other people who were involved in MK Ultra, have them fight alongside 11 would be incredible. I think that would be so cool. So I'll give this one a 5 out of 5. I think this theory is wicked. Next is Patriot. That's some shit you got there. I hope that comes true, honestly. Jancy/Stancy love triangle. The romances of Stranger Things has always taken a back seat to the world's ending threat. But alas, there's still an important emotional tie to the characters. Nancy's relationships with Jonathan and Steve have had ups and downs throughout the series. Fans believe their triangle will come to an end in the final season, with Jonathan never telling Nancy the truth about his intentions to not go to the same college as her. Epic Banana 05 thinks Jonathan's dishonesty will separate him and Nancy. However, it will be a respectful breakup and not an anger-driven one. Even though many fans predict not all three will make it out of the series alive, some have ideas for Steve and Nancy's future. Epic Banana predicts him and Nancy will end up working alongside the government in some way. Truth be told, I do not care for Jonathan at all. I will say the one thing he did this season that I really liked, him reassuring Will that he's his brother and he loves him despite whatever he may be. I think that was his primary redeeming quality this season. Other than that, I can really do without him, truth be told. I do think that not all of them are going to make it out of the series alive. Truth be told, I have my strong doubts about Steve this season. By the grace of God, he made it out alive. Thank you, God. And the writers, of course. I really like Steve. I think Steve is like the cool guy with a heart of gold, which was an interesting turn for him to take, especially considering how he was in the beginning of, season 1. I see him dying low-key. My girlfriend actually pointed it out in a really cool way. She said that, Steve's character development he had like a 180-degree kind of character flip. So if anybody would be picked right to die, it might be Steve because he exhibited the most growth. I'm gonna give the Jancy/Stancy love triangle, I'm gonna give that a 2. It's cool. Nothing really groundbreaking by any means. Calm for sure. Max as a puppet. Villains have been known to use people as vessels to commit their deeds, as previously seen with Billy and Will. Fans think it is possible that Max will be the next host of an upside-down villain to terrorize the crew. Narratively, it would fit in with how Vector has moved before. Max could be a very disturbing antagonist, and the show is known for having good villains. Oof. User Kevin R1990 imagines a characterization of a made-over Max antagonizing her friends. Max in a power suit with big shoulder pads and bigger hair like an 80s soap opera villainess. Also, it would put a dark twist on Max's favorite song, Running Up That Hill. I love that song. Oh my god. It's crazy how much I love that song. I listen to that song routinely. When I heard it in the show, I didn't give any second thought to it. I'm familiar with Kate Bush. She's very well regarded by musicians that I really respect. So by default, a respect just transferred over. I think the way that it took off, I heard it so many times on TikTok and shit. It just really stuck with me. It became like a real earworm. Not to mention, she produced that song herself. Immaculately talented. But that's besides the point. Back to the topic. It's about wishing to swap bodies with a man so they can both experience what it's like to be the opposite sex. Well, Max is now getting a first-hand taste of that. Ooh. Okay. It would definitely be an interesting turn, to say the least, because in a sense she'd be following Billy's footsteps, and at the end when she's making that big revelation of like secretly wanting something bad to happen to him or whatever the case is, it would kind of like complete the transition, if you will. But I don't know, man. I wouldn't want to see Max as a villain, personally speaking. They would have to body Max. I don't want to see Max get bodied twice. It was tough watching her get bodied that first time. I'll give that one I give that one a 3. I give it a 3. But yeah, what do you guys think about these theories? Tell me if you have any more theories, because I'm pretty sure that some of the ones that I've heard elsewhere haven't been mentioned in this article. Recommend any other good shows. Listen, I'm picky as hell. I'm gonna tell you guys that right now. I'm mad picky. But a good show is a good show. When it's all said and done, this was a pleasure. I love Stranger Things. And I love you. And hopefully you love me enough to come and watch another episode of whatever I do on this channel. But yeah, I'm off this. I'm gonna catch up with y'all soon. Peace. Boom, baby.